Hi Aries, welcome to your May 2017 General Tarot Forecast. It's Rena here. So before I begin the actual tarot reading, I wanted to give you a few heads up about the month of May and the transits that are occurring. You're going to have Venus in your own sign all month, and I think this is really good for Aries people because you tend to be very boisterous, and Venus is very what was I going to say? I was going to say classy. That's really a tacky word, isn't it? Just Venus is very harmonious and elegant and always knows the right thing to say, the right thing to do. And Aries is like in people's faces, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I'm a Sagittarius, so we're both blunt. We're, Aries is aggressive. Venus is very refined and laid back, and gentle, I think is an appropriate word. So when Venus is in Aries, it's kind of like strange bedfellows because they are such different types of energy to begin with. So it's a very unusual type of romantic influence in general, but for you it works because it gives you a little bit of polish or kind of a layer of elegance that normally you don't care about making, having a perfect image or anything like that, or that's one of the great things about Aries, in my opinion, is how authentic you are. And it's like what you see is what you get. And Venus is all about that facade, the beautiful facade, but sometimes life isn't like that. And that's one of the reasons why I think, especially with Libra people who are ruled by Venus, that they tend to be seen as inauthentic, as kind of phony, because they always want to present themselves in that way. And Taurus is ruled by Venus too, but they are down to earth, being earth signs, so they're a little bit different. They're almost like, I always see Taurus a lot more like you. So Mercury goes direct on May 3rd, and this can be very good for anything that you've been trying to get off the ground to get the ball rolling later in the month, because as Mercury picks up steam and eventually goes back where I guess we would say he was before he retrograded, things will kind of settle down. And so far, last night I was having some technical issues that none of my memory cards were being recognized by my camera. I don't know how many snafus you guys have had, but it's been relatively uneventful, I would say. I do sense a kind of a slowing down in general of communication, but I don't know whether or not to attribute that to the spring holiday or the Easter holiday. So what else is happening? By the way, I just wanted to say, with Venus in your sign, it can just make you generally attractive, and not talking about gorgeous looks-wise, but in terms of anything where you need to promote yourself. That's why I was saying it can give you that extra little bit of gloss, or just the appealing quality that other people will be attracted to. And this could even be for job interviews. It doesn't have to be just for romance or anything like that. There's going to be a full moon in Scorpio on May 10th. And this is going to fall in your 8th house of intimacy, which basically 8th house is usually characterized as sex, death, and other people's money. And so in terms of that, with a full moon there can be an awareness that you have, because metaphysics is also connected to this house, and dealings with the dead, whether it's through inheritances, so there could be a matter that is finalized, but even a realization about something or an intuitive hit. Maybe you discover that you have certain psychic abilities that are connected to mediumship and things like that. So I'm sure not everyone will be experiencing that, but I just wanted to put that out there because that's one of the lesser known influences of the 8th house. The basic things can be just realizing when a relationship, like a marriage, something very connected, is lacking that type of connection, that deep connection. You can be married for 30 years and all of a sudden you realize, you know, we really don't know each other. I don't really know what her favorite color is. I know that's like a really lame example, but I don't really know. She doesn't really share with me some of her problems, and I don't share with her either. And yet we're side by side, and we're even thinking about getting divorced, but we haven't done so yet. Because Uranus has been transiting your 7th house of, Uranus has been in your sign. And when Uranus is in your sign, Aries, that can make you very different, you know, thinking outside of the box and not willing to do things how you've done them before. Your 7th house is actually the house of Libra. And because of these outer planets, such as Pluto in Capricorn and Uranus in your sign, there have been a lot of challenges to people who are cardinal signs such as you. And so with Uranus in your sign, it can make you want just total freedom at any cost. And that can affect a marriage. But it can also, with the full moon there, it can make you aware of what was lacking. The other thing, too, that I wanted to mention is that at the end of the month, you're going to have a new moon in Gemini. And Gemini is an air sign. It forms a friendly angle called a sextile to your sun or rising sign. It's the 3rd house of communication. So you may have a new person that you're dealing with online, because, you know, that is our chief form of communication these days, is online interactions. Maybe 50 years ago or 100 years ago, it'd be like through the mail. Actually, I was going to say, I should have said through the phone, but also pen pals and things like that. But now we meet people sometimes online. And with that comes its own set of challenges, obviously. Not to mention, you know, first of all, distance. Also, the nature of the distance makes it easier for there to be deception in these types of relationships. People have had their lives turned upside down by Facebook. And it's not something that we should take lightly, but you may have a new avenue with that. There may be, and it doesn't have to be a romantic situation. You may find some group that really is helpful for you in your life, dealing with issues that you're fascinated by or that you want to learn more about. And the 3rd house can also deal with learning or teaching. So you may be presented opportunities in these areas, and also with siblings. So with the 8th house, having a full moon there, if you've been dealing with any kind of an estate of somebody who has passed and it's been finalized, you may forge new relationships with your siblings that maybe it was damaged before, maybe you can start over, or even cousins. The 3rd house can also be extended family. Okay, wow, I did not mean to go on that long, but hopefully some people are still with me, or they have fast forwarded to this. And this is a general reading, so it can include any area of your life. I'm also doing a spread that I haven't done before on here on YouTube. It's a new spread that I made up, but it's not really, it's kind of funny to pat myself on the back for that, because everything is pretty much reinventing the wheel at this point. Okay, I'm going to put this here, this here. I decided it, and I pulled them out together. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I just realized. I want to, before I begin, I want to just tell you briefly what the positions are. The top row is the past influencing the present. It's funny because I've been thinking in prior months, maybe the recent past, but as I've been doing this new reading, I realized that the top row can even be something that happens at the beginning of May, and it influences the core section in the middle, and then the bottom row is the future, maybe what, by the way, just to clarify, the future does not mean something set in stone. And I've been trying to find a way to explain my beliefs on this, because I realize that I'm kind of contradicting myself when I say, and this is the future, the bottom row is the future. I think you could say probable outcomes, or symbolic of the energy around the outcome, rather than make it literal, because in my private readings I really stress personal responsibility and not assuming that your life is set in stone. This card right here is kind of, to me, representative of people who are in bondage to these ideas of, fatalism, where there's nothing I can do, it's all predetermined, and I just have to hope and pray for the best. Maybe I'll contact a psychic and make sure that my future is going to be okay, because I sure hope, there's nothing I can do about it, so I better contact somebody. I don't call myself a psychic either, but anyway, let me begin. And what I wanted to say was that Aries is a very can-do type of sign. You're a cardinal sign, you're very active, you're very take charge, and this type of, you're a catalyst for change to occur. You love to start new projects. You're not really great on follow-through. That's the only downside, but you love to begin things. So when you're working, and speaking of that, this is kind of leading to that, when you're working, engaging with other people or bringing them into your project is helpful for an Aries, because you may not want to deal with all the fine details of whatever's happening. This card is the heart of the matter, the Three of Pentacles. If I had to guess, I would say this is you building a business, and Aries is a very independent thinker. You do, I think, best when you work for yourself, if you can make that happen. But you may be assembling a team to help you. The number 3 indicates that there are multiple people. It is right next to the Eight of Swords, so for some of you this may actually be a lover's triangle. Number 3, I get 2 3s there. And the lover's triangle angle can be that you have a hard time moving out of the situation. So I don't know if it would be you are seeing or involved with 2 different people, or your partner. Either one would cause the oppression represented by the Eight of Swords. But let me talk about the past before I get to that Three of Wands. In the top row, we have the Moon card. So this may be a catalyst card. This may be when something happened, that the truth was revealed. Sometimes this is the truth being concealed. But sometimes with full moons, let's see, well, yeah, you just had a full moon in your 7th house, did you not? Just the other day. So for some of you, you may have had you may have discovered something about a partner, or you were discovered by a partner, things that you were doing. Typically, I don't see Aries people as being deceptive. This is a card of deception. And I don't see it because you're pretty straightforward people, and you actually have integrity. You really do, as a whole. You're really not about pretending to be something you're not, doing things that are underhanded. You're pretty direct. And some people resent that kind of directness or bluntness, but I feel that that's foolish to resent that, because when people tell you who they are, how can that be bad? They may not say it in the nicest way, but at least they tell you where they stand, and then you can make appropriate decisions rather than somebody keeping something from you. The Moon card can connect with Pisces. I think even by extension it rules Cancer, so maybe there's a Cancer. And definitely with Aries, Cancers can come into your life because you're both cardinal signs. The King of Swords is also from the past position. The past influences can be people, places, or things. The King of Swords can be someone who is in the legal profession, like a judge, who's making these decisions that are very impassioned. Well, I'm trying to think of a word that means not full of passion. So I don't know. Impassioned, I think, means full of passion. Impassionate, I think, is the word. But anyway, making decisions just based on the facts only, and not allowing their emotions to get in the way. This is a person of authority, being a king. In some cases, it may be your boss, and for some people who are having an affair with their boss. But the Moon card next to it indicates that there's some secrets with maybe this person. This could be someone's father of their child. It could be, because kings can represent fathers, or your actual father, learning something about your father. By the way, I hope you can't hear this in the background, because I've been waiting around. All this lawn care is just, now that we're into April, is going to be an issue for me when I'm filming, and I'm lucky that I have a very lot of hair, because I would be pulling it out. I'd be bald by now, with this nonsense. But in any case, this person is influencing you now and is making you feel oppressed. Perhaps, one example would be the father of your child. You feel like he is still messing around with his baby mama. The Moon card representing the unknown, maybe partial truth. Maybe he's telling you some things are true, but you can just tell, you can sense it. And you feel trapped because maybe you love this person. This person could actually be an air sign. So that would be an Aquarius, a Libra, or a Gemini person. Libra is another cardinal sign. It's your opposite sign. So for obvious reasons, I go to that, but it could be, it doesn't even have to be their sun sign. If they have that trait, that personality trait of being in their heads, that would kind of characterize them. And so when somebody, the King of Swords can be very analytical and intelligent, but not in touch with his feelings. And sometimes when people aren't in touch with their feelings, they're able to really do a lot of stuff and not feel guilty about it. The Knight of Wands. This I always associate with Aries, but supposedly it's Sagittarius. So whether this is someone else who is you're dealing with, or if this is related to this King of Swords, I'm not sure. But I will tell you that this card represents someone who is a Lothario, which is like a player. Okay, so it could be that that's somebody that you have been involved with, and it's wreaking havoc on your life in some way. Now, how it relates to the King of Swords, I can't say. I think there's something that is going on behind the scenes. And I will say, too, if this is a professional situation, you may be striking out on your own. And because the Knight of Wands has a kind of devil-may-care attitude, doesn't feel like, doesn't have that sense of worry about what's going to happen, and is just, willing to be bold in their actions. And in the present tense, we have the Three of Wands. So that can be about traveling and looking beyond your horizons. And especially with career matters, if you have been, it's also about like branching out. It's number 3, expansion. If you've been doing something by yourself, you may decide to bring it to another location entirely and, open up a market somewhere far away where you feel that you'll be very receptive. You may be dealing with someone like the King of Swords. Maybe it's a distributor. Maybe it's somebody who is being very logical, but they're not being very creative, and they're not seeing the potential of something, and you're trying to make something happen. I feel though, and this is I always feel this way about Aries, is that they tend to be very much committed to taking action. They're not really somebody who sits there and complains and doesn't and clings to the past. With the Eight of Swords in that middle row, it may be that you feel constricted, but you are willing with the Three of Pentacles to still plod along and do it. It's the Three of Pentacles is the Architect's card, so there's that sense of building something that's long-lasting. And maybe for once you're sticking to something because you really see the potential of it. And the Eight of Swords is just you really desperately wanting to break free from an oppressive situation in your life, and this is something I have to do. This is going to grant me my freedom. So what can be coming in, or people, places, and things that may be coming in, or maybe this is advice, the Two of Pentacles. You may be making a decision about whether or not to accept a job overseas, as I was saying in the middle row. It could be just about, with the heart of the matter being Pentacles, maybe there's an earth sign, and maybe this is on your end of things. So Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, that you're deciding between, and it can also mean that you are extremely busy, that you feel like you're juggling your life. With the King of Cups, this could be a new character on the scene. Somebody who is very understanding and mature emotionally. If this is employment, you will go from somebody who may be a little bit too cold in a sense emotionally, which an Aries person isn't really fond of, to somebody who's very nurturing as your boss, who really wants to understand his employees and nurture them, nurture their talents. And in your love life, that this could be a mature water sign individual. So this could be Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. And I mentioned with the moon card, Cancer. So I don't know if that was somebody all along. But this might even be somebody who's older than you. Somebody who is in a position where they are controlling other people. So in other words, they are in a supervisory position, or they own a business, or maybe it's a counselor in some cases. It can be a clergyman that you go to for guidance. But I think for some it's going to be related to work, because this is a card of work, hard work, honing your craft, really trying. It's kind of a perfectionistic thing, but there's material success attached to this card. This is something that, with the Three of Pentacles, you could really be rolling up your sleeves and trying to make something work. Maybe you haven't launched it yet, but you're in the process of kind of nurturing a project and trying to make it as good as possible. So Aries, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great May. Bye.